Hello! Today we will talk about the system development lifecycle, or you'll often hear me abbreviate it, and many people abbreviate it as just the SDLC, and project management. Both of these work hand in hand to get things done, not necessarily just on IT-related projects. As a matter of fact, many of you may have already been a project manager. Certainly I had you at least start managing a project as you worked with your group on the integrated project. But even beyond that, you have probably done something like that in the past. If you've ever put together a party, if you have ever planned or helped to plan a wedding, or some other type of event, even a road trip. You have essentially done some project management where you basically had to put together a number of different activities into a cohesive plan and schedule. Figure out what you needed to do first, what needed to have something else happen before it, dependencies basically, and so on down the line, so that you could get something that involved lots of different steps completed smoothly. The system development lifecycle plays a role in organizations because information systems tend to go through a variety of stages once they get put in. Older systems back in the 70s and 80s essentially were put into companies with the idea, well, we'll probably use this for 5 or 6 years and then move on to something else. And then you see many of them still running decades later. It's not perfect, but it does give us a structured approach to getting new technology initiatives up and running. The idea here is we want to update information systems, modify them, create a brand new one in order to meet some kind of need that we have identified. So the system development lifecycle, you may also hear it called project or implementation methodology, is something that all good organizations need to have in place so that they can build or buy and implement new technology. And it comes in a variety of phases. So management and sponsorship is the hub of any big initiative in an organization. You need to have someone basically running interference, doing the lead blocking, if you will, for the project. Project sponsors help there, and then management, project management is what runs the project on a day-to-day basis. So we start off with planning. Planning is the first phase of the SDLC, and basically this is where you identify some kind of a need, look at some of the basics that might be required, what's available out there, set yourself up for the new technology. And then we get into analysis, where we start to look at the information we have, what questions we have unanswered, what types of tools are out there and available to help answer, to help fill those gaps that we talked about with the strategy maps, and maybe what we need to build as a result of that. So the analysis, we get down another level of depth, and that's something to keep in mind with each of these phases. Each phase is an order of magnitude larger than the previous phase. So the further you get into the project, the more resources, i.e. money and people, you have sunk into the project. So the next phase is design. And here we have, it often is split up into conceptual design and detailed design. But basically we are breaking things down into more detailed levels. What all needs to take place within each business process? What pieces of data need to be stored? What reports do we need specifically? What are they going to look like? How interactive will they be? Do we need dashboards? And all those types of things are going into the design. Once the design has been put in place, then we move into the implementation phase, which is where the system either gets programmed and built or purchased and installed and configured. Or maybe a combination, just depending on how much customization is made to an off-the-shelf system like SAP. All right, so the implementation is where the aspects of the new technology get built and then put into operation. So testing, quality assurance, all that is part of the implementation phase here. And then finally, we get into the ongoing running of the system where there will be maintenance, new releases or patches may get installed to the system, or new reports get redesigned and maybe updated. Various things like that will take place throughout the lifetime of the new technology, and eventually it will get decommissioned or retired. So this system development lifecycle has 5 phases here. Now, my previous textbook had 4 phases for the SDLC. So the number of phases may vary just depending on what methodology you're looking at. You're going to end up performing the same activities anyway. The company I used to work for, Arthur Andersen, we had a methodology for new system development called Method 1, and it had 7 phases. But it covered basically the same things you see in these 5. We just broke them out differently. So that's what you see when you see a methodology. A lot of times it's more just how it's organized and structured versus the actual tasks that are performed.